Hi guys, this is me, Ali Baqir Khan from Youth Alumni Association. And we guys are back after a while, after a long time, but the goal is still the same. That is to make sure that we guys can, provide our message and spread it across the youth. So today we have Maham Aizaz with us, who's going to actually tell us a little bit about her journey. And thank you so much, Maham, for coming in and joining
Hello,
the good cause.
hello, Ali. Thank you.
How are you doing today?
I am good.
All right, that's really good to know. So I heard a lot of good things about you, that you went to LUMS on scholarship and you also, faced, you could say, a lot of hurdles in your journey as far as your career is concerned. So as you know that Youth Alumni Association is actually working on a lack of career counseling in Pakistan. So I've got a couple of questions for you that I would want to ask, and starting from as a student, what do you think is the role of educational institutions in supporting and encouraging the ambitions of students? And why do you think that the majority of our institutions have failed in this particular role? Can you please put some light on this?
Okay. So, firstly, I would like to say our schools and colleges, I believe, they play a very huge role in shaping our personality. After our homes, they're the second place we go and interact with people. So, if the environment for schools and colleges is encouraging towards us and they're appreciative of our ambitions, then surely we will earn very much and go ahead in life very much. But sadly, I have noticed that mostly the stakeholders of the institutes, the teachers, the principals, they're just concerned about your grades. And obviously, because the grades of the students will determine the standing of the school in society, they would like more parents to come and get their children admitted on the basis of grades. So their focus is on your grades, and like if due to any reason, like you're behind your peers, you will not get the required attention from your teachers. They will just be focused on the students who are going to bring good name to their school. So many students are not guided, are not appreciated for their other talents that they might have. And that is what I think needs to be changed.
I totally agree with you. Back in 2017, I started off this idea. We guys went to a lot of different schools for workshops, as I told you previously as well. And I think one thing that we are missing on is that we guys don't even know what we are pursuing. For example, if you ask a doctor what MBBS means, I'm not going to talk about 100% of those, but majority of them, they don't even know what it is. Similarly, talking about, people coming from different backgrounds. So they're not exactly sure why they're pursuing what they're pursuing. So I've got a quick question here, and that is, since, you started off your journey with LUMS, what was the motivation behind it? How did you attain that scholarship? And what message would you like to give the youth of Pakistan if someone wants to apply? What should they do about it, and how should they go forward? I hope that makes sense.
Yes.
The question. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, that's a very good question.
Thank you.
And I will be delighted to share my experience. So, like, it happened, like most of the parents, obviously, my parents wanted me to become a doctor. And not just my parents, my teachers, because I was a like higher performing student, so they expected me to become a doctor, give MCAT and all of that.
Yeah.
But I wasn't really into like biology and maths at that time. It really interested me. So I obviously when I decided it was back in grade 10 that I will study maths in FSC, not pre-medical, but pre-engineering. So obviously I was to be an engineer, if not a doctor, because that is the only
Oh
second
yeah,
option that
these
you
are
have.
only the
Right.
two things that people
Yeah.
pursue. I agree.
Yeah. Even at that, people had problem that you are a girl. Why do you want to become an engineer? Like it is a male-dominated field. You
It's
should not go there.
stereotyped society, obviously.
Yeah, it very much stereotypes you have to face. So,
Yeah.
but further again, like engineering also didn't interest me. But like I didn't want to become, like I was just interested in studying maths for the sake of maths.
Mhm.
Like in future, associate myself with academics. But here I again see some criticism that you're making a waste of yourself. You're a very talented student. You can be a very good engineer, this and that. What will you do by just studying mathematics? So at that point, I think there was no one to guide me. What should I do in the future? My college and my principal, they were just there. Like, they were only interested in me giving ECAT after FSC, you know?
I see. Okay.
So I had to search. I was very much motivated myself to go to a good, reputable university. So
Of
I
course.
searched about
Yeah.
LUMS, NUST, and other institutes in Pakistan. Even I also applied to Turkey. I was like, I will either go abroad or I will go to
Either you're
LUMS,
gonna
NUST,
go
and
for the tier one university in Pakistan, that's LAMS IBA, or either you're gonna
yes,
just move abroad. And I think
yes,
mostly, I mean, the generation who's capable enough, they think that way as well. But
yes.
what was your core interest? That's again, I'm gonna repeat my question. What made you decide that okay, I'm made for LAMS, I just gotta apply, and then achieving scholarship when there are numerous people out there who are applying as well? What was your motivation and how did you achieve that?
Well, my motivation was itself that because I just didn't want to get a degree. I wanted to get exposure to life. I knew that in Bhutan, there are not such universities which will give me a broad culture and diversity and other exposure to life than LUMS.
Okay.
Obviously, because it is the top
So you
university,
moved
people from
from
different backgrounds.
Multan to Lahore, especially just for the
Yes,
sake of, oh, I see. Okay.
yes,
Okay. Go ahead.
yes.
Yeah.
Because LUMS also grooms you professionally better than other institutes. So I knew that I will have better opportunities after my graduation from LUMS as compared to any other institute. That was the basic motivation, you can say.
That was the goal. I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
The other
also,
question. Yeah, go ahead. Complete.
no. Also, I wanted to say that no one guided me, not any teacher, any parent. I just did research myself. I went to their website and filled
I see. So,
applications.
I
And
mean, there are many students who might do that, but I think instead of us doing that thing when we guys don't even know what career we are supposed to pursue, we should have some sort of knowledge
yes,
about it. We should have all those. I mean, because there are a lot of, educational institutes where you go, you just spend money. It's their core responsibility to let us know that, okay, career counseling is an important aspect as well. And
yes,
unfortunately, even talking about my journey, I mean, I've been working for about 8 years for American companies, in different sectors, actually. So that was a thing that I just decided. Why? Because I was good in communication. And at that point of time, I just thought that, okay, this is going to be the time. This is the way I'm supposed to just go ahead and take forward things. So the second question is, the emphasis of our schools and colleges is mainly to produce doctors and engineers. That's something that we have discussed. Can you briefly
yes.
explain if that's true? Or do you think after going to LUMS, you have felt different change? What sort of people did you meet there? And what do you think, did they have the right goals or were they just pursuing their careers because their parents asked them to do? What do you think about that?
Yes, good question. So about the doctor engineer part, that's mostly before going to university. In Bhutan mainly, like there are so many academies like KIPS, Punjab, Stars that offer preparation classes for MCAT and ECAT, but they rarely have any other university preparation course.
Yeah.
There are some, but more emphasis is put on MCAT and ECAT specifically because parents only want their children to become doctor engineer. No one wants them to become a fashion designer or any other thing.
I
So
understand
that's
that.
why they just publicly advertise these courses.
Mm-hmm.
So mostly emphasis is on this. And secondly, in LUMS too, I have seen some students like I was a peer advisor in my final year. Like my job was to guide first year students to transition to university life. So also their students were like, our parents only want us to become engineer, but like they had option to change their major after getting admitted to LUMS, and everyone in LUMS has that option to
I
change their
see.
school but
I
still
see.
they were so
I
much
mean, so
confused
you,
or
what you're trying to say is that if we talk about educational system in Pakistan, people in LUMS, they do have that privilege that they have those career opportunities in which they can actually
yes,
decide better career for themselves. But
yes,
right
but
now,
still
yeah, go ahead, please.
but still they're very much influenced by parents and society, and so they're afraid that if we choose for ourselves, our parents will do this. Like the whole system has
which
affected them
you
so
as a
much.
student, and you, I mean, since you've just graduated recently, right?
Yes, yes.
Which you think should not be done. Why? Because this is against your interest, right? I mean, if there is something that you want to pursue, you should definitely go ahead. And this is how innovation can
Yes,
start off. This is how innovative
exactly.
mindsets would develop. And if there is no innovation, I don't think any country is going to go anywhere. So thank you so much for answering that. I'll just ask you a couple of more questions. And out of those, one is, I mean, since I just decided to make sure that I have a couple of questions for you before you come in. The higher education system in Pakistan is facing hard challenges. For example, inadequate funding, poor infrastructure, quality and standards, lack of autonomy and academic freedom, increasing societal expectations, and a growth in demand for higher education. Now, as a senior education counselor, I mean, I have been going to different schools. I've been counseling people. I teach children as well. So I know what their problems are. But you being a student, what do you think? What's the coping methodology? What do you think the government of Pakistan should do? And if they're not doing it, what do you think you and me and the youth together, who at least know that, okay, now we are at a certain level, forget about what happened to you. Okay, since finally you reached LUMS, it was a good university. Now you being a Luminite obviously have a certain set of exposure. Me working for different companies, I've been working for Perry University Islamabad, for Center for Entrepreneurship and Leadership. So people used to come with a lot of good ideas, but unfortunately their ideas were not supported by enough funds, and they did not have enough risk to actually go ahead and
Exactly.
pursue those ideas. So how in a very concise way, what do you think as a student? You're not a student anymore, I wouldn't call you a student, but what do you think, as a Luminite or as a graduate, what steps should we guys take to make these things happen and to improve this for future coming generations?
Yeah. So while I was in LUMS, I did take 2 courses in education. I was interested in at that time learning about the education sector and their problems. So mostly those readings compared the system of Pakistan with that of the United States. So in United States, the government spends a very huge chunk of funding on education only because they realize the importance of education. And also the quality of public education is quite good there. Like 95% of the students there are studying from public institutes. But in Pakistan, we have to study in private institutes because the quality of education in public schools and colleges is like, it's very, very low. So that's one problem here. So people who cannot afford private, they will obviously go to public institutes, and there are lack of resources there. So they will not be as privileged as we are. So firstly, obviously the government needs to, invest more in education. That is the first step we can take to ensure the quality of education.
So what you're trying to
And
say is the
secondly,
investment should be
we
more.
as citizens,
That's first thing. I mean, there should be more
yes,
investment
but
and
in
more
Pakistan,
opportunities. Yeah.
yes, Pakistan, there are already so many problems like economical problems and nowadays the political turmoil in the country. So if
So
we are not
do you think, sorry,
out
I'm
of
cutting
these
you there.
problems,
I just have another thing to add
no
on. Do you
problem.
think if we guys start entrepreneurship and if we focus more towards innovative mindsets, can
Yes,
that help us as a
that
generation?
can, yes, that can help us a lot. In Pakistan, there's a lack of entrepreneurship.
I got you. I got
So
you.
we can
So
become self-sufficient if
one last
we
question,
like.
Maham. Tell me a little bit about your experience, overall experience, and the challenges you had to face to pursue your field of interest. We guys did have a discussion on that, but particularly being concise, you can tell me about it. And if someone wants to pursue a career in the educational sector, what core interests should an individual have in order to pursue it? Starting from tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3, because you graduated from a tier 1 institute, and we were having a discussion. The school that you went to, that was a tier 2 institute. You don't know about tier 3 much, but again, living in the society, you do get to know, because being Pakistanis, we guys have an idea of what kind of situation this is. So my journey and my platform and the mission of Youth Alumni Association here is to make sure that we empower youth enough that they should at least know that whatever they're pursuing, they have a certain interest in that. This is you today. Tomorrow, I have a lot of other interviews lined up. I'll try my best to just go ahead and spread the word. And this is the least that we can do for our youth, at least. So what is your insight? And can you please answer me that? Yeah.
Yeah. So firstly, I have to answer like
the hurdles that you faced. And
yeah,
exactly.
like I previously discussed, firstly, it can be lack of appreciation, lack of support from family and education institutes, lack of guidance. That were the main hurdles, I would say.
Lack of guidance. Yeah.
Yeah. And secondly, I would like to add that after my graduation, I am going to join, there's an NGO, Teach for Pakistan. So basically, for now, I'm going to pursue my career in education also. And what motivated me is like, you know, I have that kind of motivation that I should play my part to make the education system somewhat better in Pakistan. So all my university life, I participated in different educational co-curricular activities. And I think a basic purpose, yes. I think if you should only do a job in education, if you really want to add something to the system, if you really have that motivation to make it better, you realize and understand the importance of education for our country, and you understand the problems that are going on, and if you have any innovative solutions that you can propose. So you should definitely go.
I understand. So just to summarize the discussion that we've had so far, I'd like to conclude that you being a student are looking towards going for, okay, I've heard about Teach for Pakistan, I guess that's what I believe what you're talking about.
Yes.
As a Pakistani, I would just like to say that we have immense talent. We've got people like Ali Moin Nawazish breaking records. Then there was a student who broke a record in ACCA. Then we've got, immense talent like Arfa talking about. Every other day we hear about different innovative people coming in. So I think talent is, there is immense talent. 63% of the youth of Pakistan is capable enough to go ahead and excel in what they want to do. But what we are lacking is career counseling. That's it. We guys don't know what we are supposed to pursue and how we are supposed to pursue it. For that, I would definitely, go ahead and share this with the audience, with the youth, for Youth Alumni Association, and not just us. There are a lot of people in Africa. There are a lot of people out there that I've been speaking to personally who cannot afford good quality education. So I think the more people view this, the better our chances that we might come up with solutions. You can go ahead and spread the word with your colleagues and alums as well. Not just there, obviously in the cities that you've been in, Islamabad, Lahore, Multan, since you've been traveling all these places. And thank you so much for your time today. It was really nice having you here. Any questions that you have from my side?
Not any question in particular, but I really appreciate your startup and I hope it will bring a positive change.
Yeah, we guys started off, I used to work with a guy from Silicon Valley as well. And there were different ideas that I had in my mind. This is something that I'm just doing to make sure that we can add as much as we can contribute. This is very little, like on weekends, if you're taking 15-20 minutes out just to do a podcast or a video session. This will eventually also lead results. Trust me on that. I want to connect different societies. Like, for example, Teach for Pakistan is doing a good job. If you guys sign an MOU with Youth Alumni Association in future, once you join them, I would love to go ahead and I would love to coordinate with them. So when we have those mindsets, why don't we go ahead and do that? Why do we wait for the government to always come ahead and implement things?
Exactly.
We're not supposed to wait for them to always just come ahead and do that. If, talking about politicians like Shehbaz Sharif or Imran Khan, they never came to you and asked, Maham, you're good for LUMS, right? You were the one who exploded yourself. So we should help the other people doing the same thing. Now, trust me, people who are going to view this video, they're going to have a lot of motivation that, okay, if a person like Maham, who actually was from Multan and she came all the way to LUMS, why cannot, he or she, why can't they do that? So thank you for your time. It was nice talking to you, and keep up the good work for Pakistan and the youth. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.